Hey there, greetings everyone. Daniel Lowrie with Antisyphon Training, back with another installment in our virtualization series. It's going to be fun because it's actually going to be a two-parter for this specific thing, a series within the series, a mini-series, right? Inception. It's happening here and now. But no, this is going to be fun because we're going to install Windows 11 as a VM using VMware Workstation Pro. So, if you're running Windows, you're running Linux as your host OS, VMware Workstation Pro is your go-to for that. At least for us here at Antisyphon, that's what we love. So that's what we suggest that you use. Obviously, if you're running Apple, Mac stuff, then this is not going to be for you. That would be VMware Fusion, which is a different product, even though it's made by the same organization. So if you're running Linux, if you're running Windows, you should be good to go. All the steps should follow through. In this episode, we're going to try to get you to the point where the VM is ready for the Windows 11 installation. By the end of this episode, that's where you should be at. And the next episode, we'll do the walkthrough of the installation of the virtual machine itself, or the operating system on the virtual machine. That's what I mean. So hopefully that makes sense. And with no further ado, shall we get to it? The first thing we need to do is grab an ISO, which you can get from Microsoft. Microsoft so graciously allows us to demo their operating systems. And this is going to be great because then we can build a home lab using those systems, try before you buy kind of thing. And if you're wondering how do you get to this, I went and grabbed that URL and made it a little readable for you. And there it is right there. You go to www.microsoft.com/en-us/eval center/download-windows-11-enterprise. And that should get you to where you want. Go ahead and type that in your address bar in your browser, hit go, should be good to go. If you need a little more time, go ahead and hit pause. Get to that site. If you don't do it this way, you got to kind of go through Microsoft when they're going to want some information from you. They're going to have you jump through a couple of hoops. This should take you directly to the download center. All right. Now that we have that out of the way, we should be here. And with that, we need to make a couple of choices. A, what language and region are we in? Well, I'm an English-speaking person in the United States, so that makes my choice easy. But you look through the options and you grab which might be English in Great Britain or Chinese traditional, French, or so on and so forth. And then the other option we need to make is which download do we want? Well, we want ISO Enterprise Download. That's the one we're looking for. And for us, hopefully, you're going to go with this 64-bit edition. Now, why do I know that? Because I'm not running any kind of ARM-based architecture. My processor, this one here is an Intel Core i7, right? That's an Intel, that's an x86 64, AMD 64 processor. You might have an AMD processor, that's fine as well. That's exactly what you're looking for because they run that x86 64 architecture. The instructions are built for that processor. If you don't have that, if you're running something like a Raspberry Pi or Apple Silicon, then you're going to want to grab that ARM64. And of course, if you're using Apple, then you're going to need VMware Fusion, which is not what we're using today. We are using Workstation Pro. But if you're running a Raspberry Pi, you could have Workstation Pro there, and you may need that to do this installation. So you choose the right thing according to your architecture. And then we click it, right? I'm not going to click it because I've already downloaded it, but it does give you this crazy long name. You click it, click the thing, right? Go there, click here, or if you have Raspberry Pi, you click there, know your architecture. But it gives you this crazy long name for the download, which is insane. And that's not, unfortunately, it's not uncommon for Microsoft to give you this weird nomenclature that probably doesn't make a lot of sense to you. Don't worry about it. My personal pro tip for you is to just rename the thing. Let it download, get it done. I think it's about 5 gigs or so. Get it downloaded. Once you have it in your file system somewhere, rename it to something that makes sense. Pro tip number 2, when you've been doing virtualization for a while and you've kind of built some labs and you've done some stuff, you're going to have a library of ISO files probably laying around somewhere. Hopefully you're doing a good job of organization of those things so that you can easily go and find them. But if they're named something crazy like 21069.397, blah, 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 that doesn't make any sense to most people. So if you name it Windows 11 Eval, Windows 11 Enterprise Eval, doesn't that make a whole lot more sense? I know exactly what it is. Maybe add the date of when you downloaded it. There you go. Make it simple, make it easy so that when you see it sitting in your ISO library, you know exactly which one you're going for when you go to choose that ISO for an installation or any other reason that you might need it. Again, those are my pro tips for you, but you do you. I'm not going to stop you if you like those big, long, crazy names, you know, to each their own, as it were. Okay, so once we have that downloaded, though, and maybe even renamed, we should be ready to create the virtual machine, the disk image, and all that. So we jump over into VMware Workstation Pro, and we're ready to go, ready to fire this thing off. Well, what do? Well, we have some options, and usually I just like to go File in the top left-hand corner and click File, New Virtual Machine. Easy. There's also Control-N, which you could do. That's also fairly simple, but there you go. And it starts the virtualization, or the new virtualization, new virtual machine wizard. I always want to call it virtualization. It's not right. New virtual machine wizard. And that's right here. Love a wizard. Wizards are great. You step your way through it. You follow the bouncing prompt and you do the thing it asks you to do. You may need to know a little thing here and there, but hopefully by the end of this episode, a lot of that will be demystified for you. So we got a couple options here. One is typical, recommended settings. Guess what? If you're new to virtualization, that's exactly what you want to go for. Only if you know what you're doing would you want to go with these custom advanced settings, right? That's for after you've been around the block a few times and you kind of understand how virtualization works. But if you're new, which this video is intended for, then you're going to go with that typical recommended setting, okay? Hit next, and then here we have install the operating system from. You can use a physical drive. So if I had physical media like a USB thumb drive or something that was bootable with that Windows 11 ISO there, we could do that, connect it. You can attach to it. It is a little convoluted to do it that way. So that's not what we're doing. We're going with the default. There's a reason use ISO image is the default, and that's because it's easy to do it that way. Now, if this is your first rodeo through this, or maybe if you have done this in the past, it's probably not the ISO file of which you are using. You need to go and select it, right? But I have done this in the past, so it's defaulting back to the last image that I've used, which is that Windows 11. But for you, you're going to want to hit Browse, go to wherever this is. I'm running Linux Mint. If you're in Windows Explorer, that's totally cool. Go to your downloads area, wherever you put that file, find it. There's mine right there, Windows 11 eval, and I'm going to hit Open. That should be good. And it does say Windows 11 has been detected. Cool. That's good to know. It does see that. It thinks that that's what it is, probably based off of the name. We'll hit Next. Now we have this option here to give it a name. What do we want to call it? And it has so graciously told us Windows 11 x64. Feel free to stick with that. I already have one that is called that. You can see it right over here, Windows 11 x64. So I'm not going to call it that again. I'm going to call it, let's see here, call it Windows 11 eval. It looks good to me. And click Next. Now, if before I click Next, I almost forgot. You have this location area. This is the default location for where your VM is going to live on your host file system. If you don't like that location, totally cool. Hit Browse and change where you would like it to go, and then click Open. I'm fine with that, but a lot of times I do. I have this extra drive over here that I have VMs in, right? So I could totally go that way, and I do that sometimes. For our intents and purposes, I'm going to stick with the defaults. And if this is your first time doing it, I totally recommend doing that as well. Just stick with the defaults right now, and then you can kind of branch out as you learn more and you get more comfortable. All right, let's hit Next. What's next here? Oh, this is some crazy stuff right here, right? Key in the password for encryption. Okay, so Windows 11 really likes a TPM, a trusted platform module. And it used to be really difficult to, and maybe even impossible, to virtualize Windows 11 because of that TPM requirement. Windows has said, okay, maybe we went a little too far. Let's kind of work this out. And they have made it where it is capable of installing as a virtual machine, even though you're not maybe technically going into the TPM and using the TPM. They kind of abstract that by giving you this option here, which is the default to say, Only the files need. Good job there, Broadcom, on the QA. Quality assurance is really kicking some butt there. Only the files need to support a TPM are encrypted, and it gives you those ideas on what those might be. But that's how we get away with not working with a TPM. And all you have to do is encrypt it and give it a password. Remember what this password is. You may be prompted for it from time to time, but because this is a demo, I'm going with pass. Make sure I'm typing it right. PASSWORD. I'm just going with password. Again, this is a demo. I'm going to blow this away when we're done. SSWORD. Okay. Should be good. You got your password typed in. Cool. Let's move on. Click next. Excellent. Now it's asking us about disk size. How much disk area do we want to allocate for this virtual machine? Don't be like this guy. And when I first got into virtualization and went with like, well, I just need enough, blah, blah, blah. I ran out of disk space like that by trying to be minimalist. Don't worry about the size. You'll notice that the default here is to split this virtual disk into multiple files. And it says splitting the disk makes it easier to move the virtual machine to another computer. But, warning, it may reduce performance with very large disks. Okay. So, and then of course you look here at the minimum disk size, and it is recommended for Windows 11 to be 64 gigs at least. That's the minimum. You can click plus and change that, make it 70, make it 100. You can even type it in, just highlight this thing and go crazy and type in how much disk space you would like to use. I'll stick with 70. You can stick with 64. You do you, boo. It's all. No shade, no judgment here. Sometimes we have smaller disks, so you have to take that into account that might be the case. Another tip about that, if you do store that virtual machine as a single disk file or as a single file, it's going to take up 70 gigs. It's going to be a 70 gig file, right? So be prepared for that. And that is why, not only that, is that we tend to see this as the default. Split virtual disks into multiple files. That way you're only using what you need until you need more, and then it will create another file, which basically kind of works together and gives it the impression of that having that much larger files just broken up into smaller bits. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense for you. And now we can click the old next to Roo. We are almost done. We actually have a finish button, but we're doing a Windows 11 install. Pro tip when Windows 11 install. If you don't have the time or the inclination to wait for updates to be done, we need to disconnect this thing from any kind of network. We can always come back later, connect the network, and then do all the updates, right? Windows will update itself. Do not worry. Once it smells internet in the water, it will connect and it will do an update because that's how it is built to do. It wants its updates and it wants them now. I don't blame it. That's a good thing. We like updates, security, right? But it will make the installation and everything last longer. So just keep that in mind. You're either going to do a lot of work on the back end or a lot of work on the front end. You do you. I'm going to cut off that internet access so that I don't have to wait for that in part 2 of this little mini series within the series. Okay? So let's go back in here and let's click this customize hardware button. And not only do we have the ability to change what's going on as far as the network goes, but we have memory, processors, connect a CD-ROM or a DVD or another SATA device. We can, again, mess with networking. We can mess around with the sound card, USB controller, the display. And you know what? I'm going to make a couple of changes here. I'm going to make this memory, if you've got it, obviously you want to give it as much resources as you can. I've got the horsepower in this machine, so I'm going to go with 8 gigs. If you got 4 gigs, no shame in your game, man. Like the RAM, it ain't growing on trees. That's for sure. And then we have, so I'm going to leave it at 8 gigs for me, but if you got 4, I would not go less than 4. You can, but I wouldn't because you're going to have a bad time. That's going to be a bad experience. You should have at least 4 gigs for this thing if you're running Windows 11. Maybe with earlier versions, you could get away with that, but the Windows 11 land, you better have 4 gigs or you're going to have a bad time. All right, processors. It's giving me 2 processors and 1 core per. I'm going to change that to 2 cores per because I like 2 and 2. It makes me happy. Why not, right? I can go in here to the networking and I can now change that. I got this connect at power on right around this region. I'm just going to uncheck that. That's going to be the option that allows me to say, hey, no networking until I'm ready. Okay, speed up my installation. Okay, so that should be good. And we'll come back to networking a little bit down the road when it's time to connect it to the internet to let it do those updates. Everything else is good for me. I don't need to mess around with sound. I don't need to mess with the USB, but you can change the compatibility between 1.1, 2.0, and 3.1. And then display, you can make some changes there, accelerate using 3D graphics. You have the ability to change the graphical memory to however much you have available. It is recommended with 8 gigs when it comes to the good old Windows. Okay? Whew. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. I'm going to click close, and that saves my settings. And then there's another option right around this region that says automatically power on this virtual machine after creation. I have that unchecked. I don't want it to just YOLO power on as soon as I click finish. A, because that's going to be the end of this demo. And B, I want you to catch that at the beginning of the next demo. And sometimes that's just a good way to go. And I find it to be a good safety mechanism just to, okay, I feel like I got everything. That's a personal preference. Again, you do you. But I'm going to click finish. You go ahead and click finish if you got all your hardware customizations done. And it should be creating disk. Takes just a second, obviously. Almost there, almost at the station. It's also going to do some encrypting the virtual disk. I've run into this before, unlock login keyring. I think this is something to do with I'm running on top of Linux Mint. You can see that. So it gets a little, I'm just going to click cancel, which should be fine. Gives me the Windows 11 eval. I am ready to go. You should be ready to go. And we can move on to the next episode where we actually install Windows 11, get it up and running, and start to work with it and play with it. Hopefully, everything was close enough for you to be able to follow. That's my intention. Obviously, everybody's environments can be a little bit different. So like the keyring thing, that might just be for me. You might not see that at all, especially if you're running in a Windows environment instead of a Linux environment. No biggie. It's so cool. You don't see that. It's excellent. It's fine. You just keep going on about your day. You don't have to worry about anything that you didn't see. If obviously the internet is there if you do come into something that is troubling and it's not working and things of that nature. The troubleshooting process is the troubleshooting process. But there you go. I'm looking forward to seeing you in part 2 when we come back and get Windows actually installed and running. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you there. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell for all the things we do here if you got some value out of this, as well as following Antisyphon on all their socials. We're on LinkedIn. We're heavily in Discord. We got a Discord channel. BHIS as well has a Discord channel. We do all sorts of fun stuff. Come and hang out with us. We would love to see you there. Until next time, have a great day.